to some of the folks, I said, companies are not going to leave the United States anymore without consequences. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you right now. We're losing so much.
That's the first headline from yesterday. Mr. Trump sending a message to U.S. companies in the wake of a deal to prevent Carrier from outsourcing about 1,000 jobs from Indiana to Monterrey, Mexico. Anthony Scaramucci, executive committee member of President-elect Trump's transition team, with me now from the Trump Tower. Anthony, good morning, and welcome back.
Bill, good morning.
When he talks about consequences, what are they? What's the penalty if someone else wants to take jobs and move them overseas?
I don't think the president-elect necessarily wants to be specific about that, but I think what he's basically he's really more thinking about the incentives and less on the consequences. I think his attitude is the consequences will be economic harm to you by not adopting our plan and going with our incentives. And so if you see the situation with the Carrier, they're getting a $7 million break over 10 years, $700,000 a year. It's about $875 a worker. If you think about that in that context, it's a very low price to keep those workers in place, Bill, to create all those positive externalities, increase in income tax. They're able to go to the shopping mall, their local grocer, and spend their money, more disposable income. And so I think what the president-elect is really focused on is you will have consequences, and the consequences will be you'll be outside of our market. You won't have your people here in our market. And my guess is Steve Mnuchin and Wilbur Ross works with the president-elect on tax policy and trade policy. CEOs around America and around the world say, you know what, America's open for business. It's going to be really smart for us to allocate capital goods, services, and jobs here in the United States. And I think that's something elemental to why Mr. Trump won.
God, I want to be very, very clear about this. In your answer, you did not list a penalty for an American company. I did not hear that from you. So how do we define a consequence?
Okay, so again, the way I would define a consequence is there's a cost-benefit analysis associated with you leaving your American jobs here and manufacturing here or growing your business here in the United States. And if you look at the new tax plan and the simplification, and you look at the repatriation treaty where we're going to reconcile the tax treaty and bring back trillions of dollars into the United States, if you're an American CEO and you're analyzing that situation, you'll say to yourself, wow, I want to keep my people here in America. I want to grow jobs here in America, build factories here in America. There would be a consequence to me, a negative economic consequence, if I move these things outside of the United States in terms of real economic terms.
Okay.
Remember,
right.
if we can take taxes from 35 to 15, Bill, you're going to see 30% earnings growth for companies large and small throughout America.
If you get there, yeah. I thought the one point he made that rung very true yesterday was Carrier is now associated with Made in the USA in a way that it's never been before. So we'll see if other companies follow suit. Now, President Obama in June said about this very issue the following. Just watch here.
Those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
Anthony, hang on to that comment. This from the Wall Street Journal. Politicians are rotten investors. Mr. Trump would help the economy and his presidency far more if he focuses on getting the pro-growth parts of his agenda through Congress. Now, you just answered the part about the Wall Street Journal editorial today. What would you say to President Obama from his message in June?
Well, I would say there really is. I think I agree with him on one point. There is no magic wand, but what there is someone that's going to be in the Oval Office January 20th that has business acumen and has the skill set to understand how to get in a room and make a deal with other CEOs. And so no disrespect to the president, but I don't think he had that business acumen or that understanding of getting in there with the other CEOs and making a compelling economic case to them to create these jobs. You have to remember, when you have infrastructure, you get a great multiplier effect in the economy. If you keep jobs in the United States, Bill, you get a great multiplier effect at Treasury in terms of incremental income tax revenue, but also in terms of consumption. One of the reasons why we're not growing well is that we have failed to engage the middle and lower working class people into the consumption cycle in the economy. You don't have enough wealthy individuals and government demand side pull in the economy to create that growth. And Mr. Trump has great instincts in terms of understanding that. And that's why our policies are going to be based on helping middle class families and the working class
Just
people.
one last question. You saw the jobs number come out 50 minutes ago. Unemployment rate dropped slightly to 4.6%. The number of jobs created, not great. It came in right around the estimate, about 178,000. Are you inheriting an economy, just pay attention to the way I'm phrasing this, that appears to be on the upswing already? Almost reminiscent of the election of 1992 and Bill Clinton.
You know, it's interesting because people were talking about it tumbling into a recession. You know, every 7 years or 8 years, our modern economic economy has gone into recession. And so we're sort of getting long in the tooth that way. But I would say it a little bit differently, Bill. I would say that the top 3% of the asset holders have benefited from a zero interest rate policy, but the 97% of the wage earners have not really benefited. Even though we printed nice wage numbers last quarter, we're still below the 2006 number on wages. They're down 9.4%. So I think we have a lackluster situation going on in the middle class and in the working class, and I think those people were very responsive to Mr. Trump's message, the president-elect's message, and that's why they came out for him and brought him into the presidency. So my guess is we're going to fix that portion of it with the legislative agenda come 2017.
It's going to be a busy year.
And I predict that we'll get back to the growth levels that you and I would like to see for us, which is 3 to 4%.
Thank you for your time today. I'm out of time for
Thanks,
now.
Bill.
Anthony Scaramucci, you bet. You as well. Thanks. Martha.